All right, Madam Chair, we're ready to start the recording at your webcast is going. We're ready to start recording whenever you'd like.
Ready, Paul. Good morning, everybody. This is the South Coast Air Quality Management District Hearing Board. Today is Thursday, March 14th, 2024, and we have an agenda with 4 actual items on there. But before we start, I wanted to thank everybody for all the well wishes and the prayers that I received from several of the personnel here and management here at the South Coast AQMD, not only in the clerk's office, but also several people in the rest of the agency. My husband had a heart attack a week ago, and he's doing much better, but he's not the best patient, so we're still struggling with it. But thank you, everybody. Okay, the first item that you see on the agenda is the item for Ryan Cleaners, case number 6252-1, and that is rescheduled and will be heard on 3/26. The second item that we have on the agenda is on consent. We won't take too long with it. It's the Torrance Refining Company, LLC, case number 6060-20, and we do have some exhibits to mark.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would just request if that could go last pursuant to the hearing board rules.
I understand, but I've been asked to go ahead and follow the agenda. So, and it's not going to take that long.
Okay.
All right. So with that, let's just go ahead and mark those items. Okay, exhibit number 7 is the actual minute order. Exhibit number 8 is the stipulation to put it on consent. And number 9 is the declaration. Number 10 is the findings and decisions. And all of these items will be entered into evidence. And this was a request regarding the modification and the extension of the compliance date, as well as the modification of the variance conditions. And it was in regards to them seeking to extend the deadline so they could complete the annual source testing for Torrance Refinery. And it had to do with the fluid catalytic cracking unit under District Rule 1105.1 due to the unexpected breakdown of the connected CO boiler, and because the petition sought that extension for testing through February 14th of 2024 and March of 2024, the final compliance date. Torrance sought that ex parte emergency variance for immediate relief and a short variance for the relief that was needed through March of 2024. So on December 20th, this board granted an ex parte, and that was me also. I granted it on the emergency variance, providing immediate relief from the December 19th. That's okay. All right. And then on January 11th, the date of the scheduled short variance hearing. So that was thereafter on January 11th, the board did act and the consent was granted for a short variance. So they are on consent today. Is there any other discussion on the matter? Board members? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yeah, before you want to mention about Ali, I don't know if he's on online.
Mr. Ali will be participating via Zoom. I haven't seen him yet, though.
Madam Chair, he did come on, I promoted him, and then he dropped off.
Hopefully we will.
Yes, I'm continuing to look for him on attendees.
Okay, if not, let's get him on the phone.
Rosalinda, did you say he's coming in as call-in user 253?
Something with the 4 from
484?
I think so.
Well, we can't promote a phone number. We can only allow them to talk. Phone numbers can't.
Oh, no, 424. I see it now. 424.
Okay.
It just come on.
We can allow them to talk, but we can't promote them over to panelists. Phone numbers by themselves. I see him. Go ahead, Mr. Ali. You can now speak.
Mr. Ali, can you hear us?
Board Member Ali?
It looks like the picture shows like the phone is red. It's with a
Yes.
line through it. There it is.
Well, now here he is again as a person. Let's try and move him over.
Technology.
There you go, sir. You just need to accept. There we go.
Mr. Ali, can you hear us?
Yes, I
Well,
can hear you loud and clear. And
There
I've
you
been-
are. There you are.
Yeah,
Good
I was
morning.
on the line. Greetings,
Okay.
greetings. All
Ready to
right,
go?
all good.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Balagopalan, you had some comments?
Yeah, I think I was going to add that in the proposed finding and decision, the exhibits were marked differently from what you just read, so that has to be corrected, to reflect, in the minute order 7 and so forth, and the stipulations 8 declaration is in the exhibit 9 and exhibit 10 is finding a decision. It was marked differently in the proposed finding, so that has to be changed. And also have to reflect that Mr. Pavement is not here, Ms. Macklin is sitting in for him, and Dr. Abraham is not here either.
Yes,
you know,
Dr.
as far
Abraham
as,
was not able to, I
to-
believe he's going to be listening in, but he will not be participating due to the noticing requirement.
Right,
And-
and then I think in the proposed finding a decision, they laid out quite clearly, and I think since we all gave consent, the findings, the 6 findings for the regular, actually it's a regular variance, they say the short variance, but it's a regular variance, and also the AOC modification. So that's the other change. It should reflect that's regular variance. That's how it's noticed also. And the other point I wanted to bring out is in the previous finding and in the, not the finding, the minute order, several of the rules were not listed. So I think when we adopt this proposed finding a decision document, the minute order, it should reflect that also Rule 203B, 2004 F1, 3002 C1 are included because it's a Title V reclaim facility. And it's also from condition 29.3 and 29.4 and admin condition E.4 and E.8, amend the minute order. Yeah, so that needs to be added to it, And also, I think just to be on the safe side, we also probably should add the compressor to the equipment description, because initially, the first time they couldn't test it was the boiler, Gilliton blades failed when they finally repaired it, and then they had a compressor failure. So the compressor 4K-1 probably should be added as a device also that needs,
I would agree to that, yes.
Other than that, I think they've met, all the, both the conditions for the regular variance and also for the AOC, they laid it out quite well. So I do have no problem in extending the final compliance date to April 29, 2024 as they requested.
Okay, and do we need a motion on that, Madam?
I also wanted to- When she called out the exhibits, she marked them as
As they should be.
It
exactly.
should be, yeah. So what I'm saying, we have to correct it in the finding and decision document because they are incorrectly marked in that document. So that has to be corrected.
Right, and I think I did mention that they would be entered into evidence. Okay, all right, with that, I'll entertain a motion. Do you want to make the motion?
Oh, okay, so in the matter of Torrance Refinery Company LLC, I move that we grant a regular variance commencing today. Well, it's actually December 19, 2023, but continuing through April 29, 2024 as requested. April, yes, 2029, from the rules and section that I cited earlier, 203B, 2004 F1 to 3002 C1, conditions 29.3, 29.4, admin condition E.4 and E.8. The equipment description as listed in the previous minute order with the inclusion of the compressor 4K-1. And the conditions as for the variance as was as listed on the order that was granted on January 11, 2024, but that was not listed here. So the same condition applies that was granted on January 11, 2024. And there will be no excess emission during this period because everything is operating. There's just the delay in doing the testing. And with that, I conclude my motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I will second
Second.
it. I will second it with the understanding that the proposed order and findings and decision as requested would be granted as part of the regular variance with the modifications enunciated by the staff.
Okay, great. Any discussion on the motion? All right, how do you vote, Mr. Ali?
Aye.
Ms. McConigal-Macklin?
Aye.
Mr. Balagopalan?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so it's unanimous. And we can go ahead and go on to the next item, which is the Innovative Baking Company doing business as Venice Baking Company, case number 6144-2. This is for a short variance regarding rules 203 and 3002. And who is here on behalf of Innovative Baking?
Introduce yourself.
I am, ma'am, Travis Ellison, engineering manager.
Okay. Will you have some witnesses this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
They can go ahead and take seats there.
Okay. I'll be here.
Okay,
And then afterwards will be Joseph. And then there'll be two more actually, just,
Okay.
but very brief.
all right. And who is here on behalf of the executive officer?
Mary Reichert on behalf of the executive officer.
Good morning, Ms. Reichert.
Good morning.
Okay, all right. All right, those people who are going to be witnesses, if you can please stand and raise your right hand. Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and go with, and start with our opening statement. It's Travis Ellison, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
Mr. Ellison.
Sure. Travis Ellison, Travis, and Ellison, and title is engineering manager. So first off, thank you for the time in this matter and giving us the opportunity that we can speak in person. Innovative Baking, which is, like you said, a DBA of Venice Bakery, which is really a DBA of Rich Products, is asking for a short variance to operate their new Line 1 oven due to the fact that the previously purchased oxidizer for the oven will not be ready in time for production due to parts availability issues. The need for this oven is to operate is due to the fact we have many critical customers that we have orders from, and a lack of fulfilling these orders will cause loss of business and potentially many layoffs within our workforce. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Reichert.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The district is not opposed to the granting of this variance, subject to the testimony presented here today and compliance with the proposed conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Allison, you can present your first witness.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, before that, do we have the proposed condition?
Yeah, she's going to get those to
Yes.
us. And you'll be emailing it to Mr. Ali?
I just emailed an electronic copy to the clerk, and I sent
Thank
you a
you.
copy as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so this would be exhibit A. All right, we're going to mark this as exhibit A.
Yes, thank you. So-
Okay.
So first,
Mr. Allison, go ahead.
thank you. First, I'll be talking with Javier Avila. And go ahead, state your name, spell it, and your title.
Hello, my name is Javier Avila. It's spelled Javier. Last name is Avila, Avila. LA. And that's the last name. First name is, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Javier Avila, first name is Javier, Javier. Last name is Avila. I'm the plant manager currently of Venice, DBA for Rich Products. We currently making a product there. We're making gluten-free pizza crust, plant-based crust also. I've been overseeing the operation for since March 2020, almost for 4 years.
And in that time, Javier, what kind of changes have been made since you
Well,
overtook the plant operations?
When I took over, basically we focused on fixing many. Back in the day, the past owners, they have really different issues with different sides of the business. We focus mainly on being in compliance with many different sides of the business. Some with food safety, associate safety. We focus on fixing many issues back then. Now, we also focus on have a better relationship with their neighbors by correcting different noises and hours operation and tracking and all that. So right now we're in the place where the neighbors are happy with us.
And then,
And
sorry, Javier, what would running this new line, not running this new line, do for the plant's customers and for the plant's employees?
Well, we currently held big customers, and then as that we've been starting pushing orders back, and they planning to go look at different places to go look for the products. So we're in a risk if we lose customers, we can lose our also jobs for our people.
Those are the only questions I had for Mr. Avila.
Okay, Mr. Reichert, you have questions for this witness?
Could you please describe the financial impact that it would, are you the right witness for this? The financial impact that would occur if you were not granted this variance?
I'm not have those numbers to you, Travis.
If he's not the right witness,
I have the numbers. Give me one moment, I apologize. I don't have those exact numbers from our financial controller. I can make a few texts
Oh,
and get those for you.
that's okay. I was
Okay.
just trying to help elicit the
No.
impact it would, the not granting of the variance would have to your.
It
to your
will
company.
definitely impact our finances, sure. You know, we have lost, product.
Could you describe percentage-wise?
Well, line 3, we currently have 3 lines, and by now operating 1, we will be losing 30% of our revenue, and it will impact our finances for sure.
So it's basically, it's about a third of each of the
Exactly.
product, yeah.
Correct.
And, but you are willing to comply with the conditions which would require a reduced amount of product going through the,
Yeah, what we look at it, we went back and what we're trying to do is just try to do just whatever we need just to produce and make these orders for these customers, where we we normally run on our lines 6 days a week. And what we asking on this variance is to allow us at least to run 2 shifts 5 days a week, so we can fulfill these orders and get product out of it.
okay. No further questions.
Okay. Mr. Avila, how many employees do you have at that plant?
We currently hold 343 people total with production and operations.
Okay, and you had said that when you came aboard that there were different issues that you were I guess, assigned to correct. Can you be more specific?
Well, associate safety, that's when one thing that we focus, so I got focused or got marching orders from our corporate is to do everything we could to fix all the safety issue aspects, like putting guards to equipment, putting safety programs in place, and eliminate or any risk for our associates. Same thing with food safety, try to be in compliance with all regulatory agencies. We pretty much, the water and everything that we had to do to put the permits in place. And one of the orders we have from corporate is just basically one of the main mandates is to do whatever's right, no matter what. So it's just a list of items that we all work, and now I can feel comfortable to say, that we've been in compliance pretty much with everything. And that's the reason we're here today, just to make sure that we follow all the.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, board members? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yes, morning, Mr. Vila. Are you aware that your facility came before this board in July of 2019?
I heard, yeah, they were here before, but I heard something that they were here before, yeah.
Okay.
But Riches acquired the company before.
Took over operations in March of 2020.
2020, okay. At that time, and I look back at the previous case, and it was under the stipulated order of abatement, and that there was oven 1, 2, and 3 that was going to be vented to an afterburner. So I wanted some clarification. Are those the same lines you're talking, or you're putting a new line 1 that is going to replace an existing line 1? Is that what it is?
That is correctly. Line 1, again, trying to make an oven, was all oven that we replaced it with a brand new oven that required a unique specific RTO for that unit.
So line 1 is going to be is new,
Yes.
and it's going to be its own dedicated RTO?
Correct.
And what about 2 and 3 that are existing? They're not being changed?
No, they're exactly the same
Same.
RTOs for those 2 units.
For those 2 units are separate RTO, or do they have individual RTOs?
No, they have the
Just-
existing one.
Individual on 2 and 3?
Correct.
Or one venting 2 and 3?
One is for 2 and 3, and
And
the
the-
new RTO is for the new oven, the new
The
line
new
1.
oven.
Correct.
Okay, all right, okay, that explains, okay, because I see some of the conditions from the stipulated order is very similar to what's proposed here, except the condition says you shall not operate the oven 1, so the VOC emission does not exceed 6.9 pounds. Are you, or is there another witness who can help explain to the board how that is going to be calculated and so forth, the VOC emissions?
Jim Polish will be
Polish, yeah.
handling that.
All right, okay. So the issue right now is you're not on schedule. Has the oven been installed already?
Yes.
And you're going to do commissioning and so forth, I see from your petition,
Correct.
and you haven't started it yet.
No.
So, and what's the status of the RTO? Where are you exactly at? What's this situation? And you mentioned there's a delay in one component in your petition, but has it been delivered? Has it been, what's the status of the?
Anu can explain maybe.
Anu will be the one to
Oh,
handle all of
to-
it. Yes.
oh, okay.
He's the fabricator of the oxidizer.
Oh, okay, then I will defer that question to that individual. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for this witness from board members? No. Mr. Ali, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, I do
Mr.
not.
Ali? Okay,
No, I
thank
do
you.
not.
Thank you. Okay, you can present your next witness.
Thank you. And I'm sorry for the delay. I was able to find the economic losses aspects. It was listed here at $4.2 million.
Billion with a B?
Me, with
M?
an M, million. Sorry for the, yes, 4.2 million was the estimated minimum of economic losses.
Great, okay, next witness.
Thank you. Next witness will be Joseph Steerer from York Engineering.
My name is Joseph Steyer, first name spelled Joseph. The last name is Steyer, spelled Stei, R as in rooster, E, and then another R. And I'm a senior engineer at York Engineering, and my role was, our role with Rich Food Products was to prepare the permit application that was submitted for the new oven one, the new oven one oxidizer, and modifying the permits to show that the current oxidizer will only be controlling units 2 and 3 instead of the previous oven one being removed from the process. So, and then just updating all those permits for that. That's what our role is. We were initially hired by Rich Products in the first, I'm going to primarily read from a statement that I prepared previously, and I can answer questions after that statement along those lines. We were initially hired by Rich Products in the first quarter of 2023 to prepare a permit application package to replace one of the bakery ovens with a new larger food oven. Since the newer food oven had a larger capacity and a newer oxidizer dedicated specifically for this new oven, we collected data, prepared the permit application, and it was submitted with expedited permitting processing at the end of May 2023. As part of our continued environmental compliance assistant with Rich Products, we reviewed the draft permit language and provided comments on the draft permits in September and October of 2023, with the final permits of construct for the new oven and oxidizer issued in December 2023. In February 2024, we were made aware that the oxidizer would not be in place to operate when the new food oven was scheduled to begin operation. We advised the client that the only way to operate the new oven without the associated oxidizer per AQMD rules and regulations would be to obtain a variance. Since Rich Products began to move forward with the variance application, York has advised Rich Products in the steps required to move forward with the variance. Over our last year, our experience with Rich Products has been that they continuously appreciate the environmental compliance York staff has provided and make every effort to be upfront and strive to keep the facility in compliance with all AQMD rules and regulations, hence the request for the variance today. And I'd just like to add, you might be aware of York Engineering. We've assisted hundreds of clients over the last 20 plus years to be in compliance with AQMD rules and regulations through permitting and other compliance support provided along those lines. Thank you.
Okay. And do you have questions for him?
No, that statement was really the main emphasis of his being here.
All right, Ms. Reichert, you have questions for this witness?
No questions.
All right, board members, do you have questions for this witness? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yep, Mr. Steyer, I see that they have already got permit to operate for both the oven and the.
Yes.
And even though they have not done the testing and so forth yet.
That's correct.
Okay.
Sometimes that's how permits are issued along those lines. They don't issue the permit to construct first, so.
So, now oven one, to your knowledge, that's been removed from service, has been removed as of now?
That is my understanding,
The
but
old oven one, sorry.
but I've not been following the timeline for the actual equipment at the facilities. So is that correct?
It has been removed. The old line 1 oven, yes.
Okay. Did you prepare the petition? Or did somebody else prepare this petition?
We reviewed the petition. The petition was mostly prepared by Rich Foods in coordination with
A new VIG from Ship and Shore.
Ship and Shore, yeah.
It's checked a Title V facility. Is it a Title V facility?
No, it is not a Title V facility. That must have been mischecked. No,
Okay. All right, so it's not, okay. And then I can ask somebody else about the excess emission calculation.
yeah, like I said, yeah, you can ask about that, but we are aware that when it was initially submitted, there was one aspect of that, and then when it was reviewed again, it was realized that the excess emissions were to be higher than what was put in the initial petition along those lines.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Okay, all right, very good. Thank you. I have no further questions.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members?
No,
Okay. Mr. Ali?
no, I have no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. You can go to your next witness.
So we'll call up now a new VIG and then also Jim Polish. We'll have him here. We also do have a few documents that will answer some of the questions that have been brought up. If I can.
Okay. If you can give them to the clerk and
Yes.
she can make copies.
Actually, let's see, this one.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna mark it. This is number 3. I don't spill everything here. All right. 3. This is number 5.
First one, just so I can.
Very first one?
No, just, you have the.
An express here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Perfect.
There you go.
Some specific call. Yeah, I'll go through the one on the wrong.
Whenever you're ready with the documents, you let me know.
I'm waiting for my clerk.
Gotcha. No problem.
Okay, so we're going to mark the chronology of the Torrance Line 1, the related events. That's number 1, the Ship and Shore Environmental Inc. letter dated January 30th, 2024 is number 2. The Worth Gas Equipment Inc. letter dated, I don't see a date on here. It's from Mr. Eduardo Mendez is number 3. January 30th is the number 2.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Okay. Number 3 is the Eduardo Mendez letter. Number,
Don't have that.
you don't have that?
Letter is that.
It is Worth Gas Equipment, Inc. Right here.
It was in the application as well, yes.
Oh, okay. It was in the.
Okay. And then number 4 is titled Delayed Items. Do you have that one? Okay, and then number 5 is the Line 1 Project Phoenix Startup Production Plan Low Yeast Codes. Do we all have that? Okay. All righty, with that, we can go ahead. You can start with your witness, sir.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name, spell it, and your company.
Oh, yes, this is Anu Vij. Yeah, hi, this is Anu Vij. First name is ANU, Last name is VIJ. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Ship and Shore Environmental. Officer. Ship and Shore Environmental.
Seem to have misplaced my questions. Give me 1 second here.
No worries.
Thank you. So you stated your role with Ship and Shore. What equipment is Rich's purchasing from Ship and Shore?
We are supplying a regenerative thermal oxidizer for their O11 line.
Thank you. And what delays right now are being encountered by Ship and Shore?
So back in January, when we were supposed to ship the equipment, we came to know from Worth Gas, who's our local distributor for the burner components, that one of the component, which is a micro ratio valve, which controls the air and gas going into the burner, is going to be delayed. We used to buy that from Worth Gas for many years. They used to buy it from Maxon. And Maxon was acquired by Honeywell, and since then they told us that the Honeywell has changed the casting company that they're using for that microratio valve, and it's causing delays. That delay not only affected Rich Products project, but also actually affected multiple other projects we had in-house. And since then, we have been trying to figure out a strategy to work around it. And for Rich Products projects, since their timeline was very rigid, we have been looking at other projects to see if the microratio valve size is same for air and gas, that I can use it on this project. We were not successful in using that. Besides the Honeywell burner control delays, we also had delays from Allen Bradley components and Axioline I/O module. We have given a list of that as an exhibit. Since then, we have been able to mitigate a lot of the components on the control panel, except few Axioline I/O modules, which we are expecting to receive in the first week of April. And at this time, based on the information we have from Honeywell and the Axioline vendor, we are anticipating to start commissioning by the end of April. And in the meantime, we have been working in the field. We are also contracted to do duct work for the project. We have finished the foundation for the project. We are working on the duct work, running the duct work from their process sources up to the RTO. So we are continuously to do the work that we can do at this time while we are waiting on some of these components to arrive.
One last question too was the timeline that was originally agreed to, that would have met our March 18th date, correct?
That is correct.
No further questions.
Ms. Reichert,
No questions.
board members? Anyone have any questions? Mr. Balagopalan?
Morning, Mr. Wage.
How are you doing, sir?
Good. So the petition said that the ratio valve was delayed till the March 8th. So has that been now resolved?
It has been, we have been promised a delivery of first week of April. And we have been tracking this more closely since we came to know about delay. So we feel confident that that delivery will be met.
Okay, so April. So, and when do you anticipate the RTO to be up and running? And
we are planning to, because once we get the microratio valve and we complete our control panel, sir, we do the FAT testing at our facility. So we are planning to do the FAT testing in the middle of April before we ship the equipment to the job site. And that's when all the field activities will start, which will be running all the gas line to the gas train, running all the power wiring. So I'm anticipating by the by the middle of May, that we will be able to finish the commissioning and start up the system.
because the request for the variance is to the end of May, so that's something that you think that can be met?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you said that you're doing the duct work, so when the ovens, it starts running, how is the exhaust going to be vented? If you got the stack, what else have you installed?
Sure. We have, so there is a part of the duct work which is inside the building. So we are finishing that ductwork, and then the part of the ductwork goes up through the roof and where the RTO is going. So we are finishing that ductwork. We also have some dampers that we are manufacturing that we have to install. And so we are actually in the process of installing those dampers. I anticipate that, by the middle of April, I think we'll be able to install all the ductwork and the dampers
And before the RTO is installed.
before the RTO is
And
installed.
there's no plans to connect it to the existing RTOs on the site, I think.
No, sir, we looked into it. There's no capacity available in the existing RTOs to send this flow to those RTOs.
Okay. Let me just see. I think that's all the question I had. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? All right, and let's go ahead and enter those exhibits into evidence. All right, you have another witness,
I
sir?
do, one more, and just one note too for the board is that the related events, the chronological events, that does kind of lay out all these issues we're talking about. So if there's any questions on that, by all means, please let me know.
That's very helpful.
Great.
Anytime I see a timeline, it's extremely helpful to us. It gives us a better idea and a snapshot of exactly what occurred when.
Right, thank you very much. Glad that helps out and shows that we've been trying for this for quite some time. My next and last witness would be Jim Polish, and I'll let him go ahead and his name and spell it.
My name is James Polish, James Pallach. I'm ACH. And I'm the Site Technical Service Manager for the Venice Bakery Rich Products Facility. Site Technical Service Manager.
Okay, thank you. Jim, based off of the guidelines in the drafted document that we received from the AQMD, how would Rich Products adhere to these guidelines?
Well, as previously mentioned, the facility is a 24/7 operation. Production lines run 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. One of the items we're going to do to mitigate some of the exposure would be to run this line 1 8-hour shifts, 2 shifts for 5 days a week. So cutting about a third or more of production time, trying to minimize the effect of this. That's one of the bigger items that'll decrease our VOC generation. Also, you have Exhibit 5. If you look at that sheet, the upper part, you'll see it says P line 1. Those are products we're scheduling for line 1. And down below it says line 3. You'll notice on about the 5th column over, it says yeast percentage. That upper group has a lower percentage of yeast. So we're proposing to run our lowest yeast products, lowest yeast percentage products on the line that will not have the RTO in place, and move all the other higher yeast percentage products to the other line. Kind of extrapolating that out, if you look at the columns to the right, the green and the red columns, if we were to run 16 hours a day, based on case counts, the green column would be at 95%. The target or maximum would be 6.9. By running to those case counts, we would be at 6.6. So we're trying to build in a buffer to be below the limit per day. That red column is representing if we run the full number of cases, that would take us to the 6.9 VOCs. And the way we calculate that out is we have SAP, which is a legacy computer system. It monitors production and inventory and batching and warehousing and so on. All the information in there can be broken down by case. And so that far right column has the amount of VOC per case that would be produced. And so we could track that through our production orders and batching orders to break down into how much VOC would be produced. And we would monitor this daily and have a running report of what's being generated.
Okay, and do you have questions for him, sir?
Yes, then the other question too, as far as, item 5 within 7 days of completion of the oxidizer, how would that go about with, do we have companies we use for source testing, companies we use for these issues?
Right. Within the permit is required that we do source testing on both the oven and the RTO. There's been a PO issued to Forget the name of the. To Montrose Air Quality Services. They'll be doing the source testing on these units once they're up and functioning.
Thank you. No further questions, ma'am.
Ms. Reichert?
No questions.
Okay, board members? I have one question. You mentioned that it's 16 hours, this graph here. Do you have 2 shifts?
We would typically run 3 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day. We're reducing down to 2 shifts. So we'd be 16 hours a day. So right now there are no shifts. The line is not running. But when we do run the line, we'll run it at a 30% reduced rate, just to meet minimum orders, as mentioned by Mr. Avila, that we have orders that are critical to fill.
Do you foresee that you're going to go back to 24 hours?
Once the RTO is in and the permit's complete and all the source testing is completed, yes, we would go back to 24 hours on this line.
When do you think that's going to be? Just an estimate.
I would hope some by June.
Any other questions? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Palak, I'm trying to, you mentioned a case. What's the case?
It varies on the product. Some products, it's 5 per case. Some products, it's 60 per case. That's why you'll see that the pounds of VOCs varies by product number. It depends on, and some pizzas are 6 inches round, some pizzas are 14 inches round. So again, the amount of pounds per case varies by product code and by customer.
So help me understand Exhibit 5, because when I look at the table on top, and the product line 1, I take it.
Yes.
And the yeast group, you have excess uncontrolled 85.2 pounds of VOC. That's daily, right?
I'm looking at excess uncontrolled VOCs. Which column are you in?
The one that, yeah, in the last column of the first table on the left side.
On the left side, okay.
Yeah, it's in red, 85.2.
Oh, that's a monthly number.
It's a monthly or not daily?
No.
Okay, so that's, okay. That,
Right, the kind of, I guess, peach, the one that says 6.6 in it, that would be a daily.
that's the daily?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that computes somewhat with the VOC per case because it's very much lower. Okay, so that explains that. And it does appear you do currently have a cap, right, at your facility, how many pounds uncontrolled you can emit a month in a calendar month,
Correct.
which is 570 pounds in a calendar month. And what contribution do you get from, do you know, from 2 and 3, line 2 and 3?
I don't offhand know the number. I know the RTO is in place and functioning. I don't know the number of VOCs emitted.
Okay, so you don't expect more than 6.6. I think that your condition says 6.9, but that you're able to meet that 6.9 by reduced hours and reduced yeast percentage, and also are you reducing throughput? Well, you're reducing throughput too.
Correct.
By the hours.
Right, by doing those reductions, the calculations we did is that 6.6, in addition to what's being run on the other lines, keeps us below our cap.
Yeah, like that. Okay. And the only, because you're using the formula to calculate, so it's the yeast percent that is critical, right, and all of that.
Correct.
Okay. And so you weigh the dough, of course, you do that. How do you get the yeast percent typically?
Each dough has a formula, X amount of whatever flours or flavorings, and X amount of pounds of yeast would go in it. So it's scaled out to each batch.
Okay. And actually, that's the other thing that you mentioned, flavorings. You add flavorings too. Do they contribute also to the VOC, to your knowledge?
I wouldn't know that.
Okay. Okay, I've no further question. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members?
Madam Chair, Mr. Ali has his hand up.
All right, Mr. Ali. Did you lose them, Paul?
He's here when he has permission. He just needs to unmute.
No, I need you to elevate me to panelist, please. Thank
Just
you.
accept.
We can hear you, Mr. Ali, if you'd like to ask your question.
Okay, I did not have a question. I just wanted to be elevated because it continuously dropped me out.
Hmm,
We're good to go.
okay. Sorry about that.
Just,
Okay,
I had
Mr. Balagopan?
I had a follow-up, and before, and it could be any one of you can answer it. You're requesting what period exactly, from when to when the variance, starting from,
March 18th.
okay, March 18 to
Correct.
the end of June. No,
Correct.
end of
The
May.
90 days of the
90
short
days,
variance would
yeah.
cover till end of June. As the events, the timeline show, we hope, we think that by June 1st, that would be the latest it would be, but we feel as if we can make that date sooner as well.
Because in your petition, you said probably it's starting on, April 26th.
It would be the commissioning of the unit and then the debugging of it, getting it to work, connected, then with our source testing and so forth. And then that would be middle of May. We added those 2 weeks for just in case there were further equipment delays in getting these parts from the different manufacturers.
Okay, but March 18, so you anticipate running the oven sometime?
That is our hope, yes.
That's all, okay. And until May 31st, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
March, April, May. So yeah, you're still within the 90 days. Okay. All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Balagopan. Okay, do you have another witness?
No, that concludes our witnesses.
Okay, great. And you didn't have any witnesses, right, Ms.
No
Riker?
witnesses.
Okay, and there are no members of the public that have raised their hands in reference to this case. All right,
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, one other question I just slipped my mind.
that's okay, go ahead.
You didn't reference Rule 1153, you need variance from. In your petition, do you need, are you requesting relief from Rule 1153?
I would defer to Anu on that. Let me check the permit here. Actually, I would ask York on that, actually. As they,
Yes, just because my rule 153 requires oxidizers if you exceed if your uncontrolled emissions over a certain threshold along those lines, so I don't know off the top of my head, but it probably is just as an act of precaution, make sure it's in compliance with requirements for an oxidized large bakery ovens under Rule 153.
Right, yes, I can, and I did have a question. I know the public notice did mention 1153.1, not 1153, but I think that should be, there's no issues with that, correct? As far as
I believe it would need to be in the notice.
1153 was not in the notice. 1153.1 was, so.
Yeah, but if the right rule is not in the notice, I don't.
And
Yeah, but if it's, they're different rules.
And the problem is, if they don't have relief from 1153, then they'll be in violation even if you grant the variance, because, it requires the control. Reduction by a certain amount, and I am trying to look at the rule, so.
So therefore,
Let's see, this is a new bakery oven unless the VOC emissions are reduced by at least 95%. When the daily emission of VOC are 50 pounds or more, okay, your VOC are going to be less than 50 pounds. Oh, okay, so then you find not getting relief from that. Yeah, okay, all right, okay, so, so you're limited to 6.9, you'll be all right then. Okay.
versus a crowd answer, if we can have the witness give us the answer,
I would call upon York then.
okay, then you can bring that guy back up.
Thank you.
Could we just get 5 minutes off the
Yes.
record, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
I'd like clarification also. So we're off the record for 5 minutes.
Okay, do I speak in the microphone?
Let's just hang in there. Fine. Off the record.
I don't think you need it because.
Are both parties ready?
Yes.
Okay, Paul, you can start the recording again.
Go ahead, Madam Chair.
All right, all right. And your answer is?
To clarify, the uncontrolled VOC emissions from this oven will be less than 50 pounds a day. So the requirements to have a minimum 95% control efficiency on the equipment is not required. It doesn't meet the requirements of 1153. I apologize. I'm a lot more used to talking rule 1153.1. So if I mix up the rules, I apologize for that. But with regards to rule 1153, it does not meet the threshold and it doesn't have the uncontrolled VOC emissions required to meet the requirements of that specific rule.
They don't need relief from 1153.
As a consequence, they don't need relief from rule 1153, correct?
Okay.
They are in
satisfying?
compliance with
Yeah,
1153.
Yeah, yes, that answers my question. They don't need
Great.
relief from 1153. Yes.
It was a little confusing. 1153 has a requirement if you exceed.
I understand that.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I was explaining it to her. She looked confused.
I thought you were looking at me, so.
I had a question, but
Oh.
I think you can answer it
Mhm.
with your explanation.
Yeah, so there's a requirement if you exceed 50 pounds of VOCs per day on an uncontrolled piece of equipment, and they're only going to, the conditions are limiting them to 6.9.
Okay, you answered my question.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any other questions for this witness? Board members, any other questions?
No.
Okay, all right. Mr. Ali, did you have any questions? I hope he's still there. Okay, all right, and that was the end of your witnesses?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you do not have any witnesses, is that correct, Ms. Reichert?
Correct.
Okay, so we can go ahead and into closing statements, and if you could also, when you are giving your closing statement, just go ahead and make your points as succinct as possible.
Sure.
And we don't have any other members of the public who had any questions. All right, go ahead, sir.
So as you can see, we've done, based off that timeline that you have as well, we have tried to have everything in line to be within AQMD standards. Like Mr. Avila said, one of Rich's mandates is do what's right. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're trying to do what we can to alleviate the yeast that we would run, alleviate the shifts, and work within whatever we possibly can to be within compliance with these AQMD rules. And at the same time, take care of our customers, which the important part is takes care of our associates. That's what we're concerned about. So we appreciate the time that you've given to us, and we would, if the variance that was stated were to be given, we would follow that every last edict and provide whatever documentation would be needed. We thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Reichert?
There we go. Subject to compliance with the proposed conditions, the district is not opposed to the granting of this variance. Thank you.
Okay. And with that, we could go ahead and go into deliberations on this. Board members, does anybody want to begin? Want to begin, Mr. Balakaplan?
Yeah, I believe we heard evidence that can substantiate making the 6 findings necessary to grant the short variance. The petitioner will be in violation of a permit condition, even though not the rule 1153 of condition number 4 of permit to operate. Those listed incorrectly. Anyway, G74245 that requires the oven to be vented to the RTO. It's listed once at G74241, but let me see, condition number 4. Oh, that's 241 is for the oven. So yes, both the G74241 and G74245, they also condition 4, which says the oven should be vented to a control system, and then the control system should be in full use. So they will definitely be in violation until they get the RTO installed. Non-compliance, we heard, is beyond their reasonable control. We heard from the ship and shore representative that they had some supply chain issues and they're difficulty getting the parts, and so it'll be delayed. So closing or taking would be without a corresponding benefit. So the harm to the petitioner does overweigh the emission associated with variance, is roughly about 6.9 pounds. They do have a cap of 570 pounds a month, so they will stay under the cap, so they will not exceed the cap. So they have given consideration to curtailing operation. It appears they're going to reduce the shift. They're going to shift some of the high yeast product to line 2 and 3 and reduce the shift in the product throughput. So that'll, to the maximum extent possible, they are reducing excess emission. And they will also, as we saw from the Exhibit 5, they will be monitoring and quantify excess emission and pay the excess emission fees, which currently is estimated about, let's say, 7 pounds per day of VOC. So for all that reason, I do believe I can make the necessary 6 findings to grant the short variance.
Okay. Any other comments, board members? Okay, with that, I also believe that we can make the 6 findings. I think that they have really done their due diligence in trying to make sure that they come into compliance, which we appreciate, and working with the district as well, and the engineers from our staff as well as working with them and making sure that you're going down the right path. So with that, I can go ahead and make a motion unless there's any further discussion.
I was just going to say that in cases such as these, transparency is really important. And I find that I can make the 6 findings very easily, and that they have gone above and beyond to try to make sure that we understand what it is that's happening with an abundance of transparency. And it's not a stretch for me. So I just appreciate all of their work.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I too can make the 6 findings, and I would associate myself with the comments as proffered by my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Okay, so with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion that we grant the short variance for Innovative Baking Company, DBA Venice Baking Company, case number 6144-2, located at 22417 South Vermont Avenue, Torrance, California, 90502. This is in reference to equipment baking oven number 1, application permit number G74241, and the regenerative recuperative oxidizer. Try saying that fast 3 times. And the ceramic hot rock, and that application permit number is G74245. And that will be regarding also the condition number 4 of the, let's see, PO number G74, I can't read that, G74241, condition 4 of also PO number G74245 and 203B and 3002C1. This is, yes.
That 3002 C1 doesn't apply because it's not a Title 5 facility.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, and that will be for the period starting 3/18 and going through 5/31 as requested on the petition. And I believe that's it. Did you want to add to that, Mr. Balago?
Yeah, just was saying the conditions are as per listed in Exhibit A.
Yes, sorry, I did forget to mention that. And that will be added to the motion that they will be complying with the conditions that were agreed upon by both parties. Okay, and do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, excess emissions. What? I only saw yeast on here and to estimated, it just says 5. It doesn't say
I think
5 pounds per day.
no, I think they calculated 6.6. So the permit says the limit is 6.9, so we can estimate to 6.9 pounds per day,
Okay, thank you for that.
VOC.
Right. With that, that completes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank
Oh.
you. All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, let's go ahead then and vote. Mr. Ali, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Conager Macklin?
Aye.
Mr. Balagopalan?
Aye.
And I also vote aye, so unanimously it is granted. Thank you very much for appearing today and giving us the information because it was very clear. It was very clear to us what you're trying to do, and I commend you for doing it the right way.
That's our mandate. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you also, AQMD staff. Especially when, you know.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Take care. Thank you. Are we gonna take a break before the
Yes,
next
we're gonna
one?
take,
Okay.
thank you. We're gonna go ahead and take a 15-minute break. We're off the record for 15 minutes. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, that's gonna be, all right, we're gonna go ahead and call it to order. We are now going to hear the case for the County of San Bernardino Fleet Management, case number 607012 for an interim. And it's also regards to Rule 203. And with that, who is here on behalf of County of San Bernardino?
My name is Jeff Laver, Jeff. Last name Law, V as in Victor, ER. Fleet Superintendent with San Bernardino County.
And on behalf of the Executive Officer?
Mary Reichert on behalf of the Executive Officer.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have two exhibits to mark. The first one is the Bertha Peak variance request. That will be number 1. And then we have the interim variance conditions, and that will be marked as A, as an apple. Okay, and we will be bifurcating this case, as you know now, the process. And we will be looking for good cause on the first part of the hearing. And then if you are able to establish that, then we will go on to the 6 findings after. Okay? You're aware of that process, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so with that, would you like to give us your opening statement?
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair. On Tuesday, 2/6 of 2024, lost power at 6:16 a.m. Generator had 0 hours of runtime for this calendar for this calendar year at this time. On Friday, 2/9/2024, San Bernardino County Fleet Management generator team attempted to visit Bertha Peak. However, conditions were unsafe due to the weather. Tuesday, 2/13/2024, a contractor was hired to assess and fix any damage. The contractor was unable to see where the damage occurred and prepared. The contractor was able to see where the damage occurred and prepared to fix it the next day. Tuesday, 2/13/2024, County of San Bernardino Fleet Management started preparing petition for variance for the emergency generator and turned in the petition for variance. Wednesday, 2/14/2024, emergency generator hit 200 hours at approximately 2:45 p.m. On Wednesday, 2/24/24, the contractor fixed the downed power lines. Power was restored to the site, and the emergency generator turned off.
And that concludes your statement.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Reichert?
Thank you. The district is not opposed to the finding of good cause in this case.
Okay, and did you have any, since you don't have another witness, did you have any other statement that you wanted to make? Okay, and so you are aware of what the good cause findings are, and you are going to be addressing that, correct?
Yes, that is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Since you don't have any witnesses, have you been, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in because you are going to be providing testimony. So if you can please stand and raise your right hand. Okay, do you swear under penalty of perjury that you will be telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Okay. So with that, we have both opening statements. Is there anything else that you wanted us to be cognizant of in reference to the case before us?
No, just the good cause. Do we need to go into the good cause here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The current hours on the generator for 2024 are 202.4 hours as of 2/14/2024. The emergency generator at Bertha Peak has reached 200 hours. The County of San Bernardino Fleet Management has done their due diligence for applying for the variance before the emergency generator went over the 200 emergency hours. The circumstance for this variance is that weather condition caused a down power line. This power line connects the Bear Valley electric meter to the 800 megahertz radio tower. Since no power was being supplied to the 800 megahertz radio tower, the emergency generator was running to supply the power. The benefit of keeping the emergency generator operational far outweighs shutting the emergency generator down due to air contaminants. Keeping the emergency generator operational means first responders receive all communication for any emergencies that occur on the mountain. The emergency generator is also a far distance from any residential or business area. This emergency generator will only run during an emergency when power supply is cut, or for 1 hour a month during maintenance. With these efforts, the County of San Bernardino Fleet Manager will only run this emergency generator for these reasons to reduce emissions as much as possible. If the petition for variance were not granted, first responders will lose critical communication on the mountain, and the 800 megahertz communication repeater loop would be down for all of the County of San Bernardino communication. San Bernardino County Fleet Manager will monitor this generator through a GPS unit to keep watch of emission levels. That is all.
Thank you. Okay, you have questions for,
I just had a brief clarifying question. I think you said it was 202 hours. Was that, you said as of 214 or 314?
214.
Okay, so do you have a current hour count?
I do not have the current ICE log. I apologize for that. I will be sending it today when I get back to my office.
Okay, so the most recent hours you have is of February 14th?
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
okay, any other questions from board members? Mr. Balagopalan.
Just one question. So it's a natural gas LPG, so what is it running on now? Is it
It's
both?
propane.
It's propane?
Yes, sir.
Basically, okay. And you have storage on site and your propane storage tanks there.
Yes, sir.
It's now accessible, of course, to fill the tank.
No, it's actually getting low when we're trying to get to the site to refill the tanks.
Oh, so we haven't refilled the tanks?
No, not at this
But the
time.
power lines have been restored.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the power's been restored.
Yeah, and so it's turned off.
As of, 2/24 of 24, the power was
Power is
restored.
restored.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Was that all of your questions, Mr. Balagopalan? Okay. So you are, what exactly are you doing at this point to try to come back into compliance? In reference to, are you having to get another generator? You're going to fix the generator? You're going to rent a generator?
No, there's about 15% of fuel left at the site. The event of a power outage, we have about a day's worth of fuel. And County Fire, San Bernardino County Fire is working with contractors to get access to the road again. Luckily, the weather has been better. It's warming, so the snow has been melting to the site. So our hope is in the next week or two, we'll be able to get up there and at least get the generator fueled in the event there is another power outage.
Okay, and so presently, the roads have been cleared and you have been able to get there. I understand that you have still not been able to.
Still have not been able to reach the site as of last week.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Are there any questions from the public, Madam Clerk? Okay. All right. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and go to good cause in reference to getting over that first hurdle. Based on the information that's been presented to us, knowing that it is not something that you were responsible for in reference to the weather and how that's affecting us, and the fact that this is such a necessary site in reference to being able to provide communication for first responders as well as the rest of that area. I in particular can find good cause and don't have any problem voting for that. Board members?
Well, I too can find good cause. I don't have any problems with it. I'm happy to hear the generator is back up and running, or the power's been restored. That was a big issue for me on whether or not there was continuing harm that I needed to consider. So thank you. I'm good with it.
Mr. Balagopalan.
Yes, I too can find good cause. Also, I would say they were quite diligent in filing for the ex parte emergency, and and also then for the interim and the regular variant. So they've been diligent in doing that. And what happened was again beyond their control, so they could not have anticipated that. So I think they met I believe all the necessary findings for good cause.
Did you want to list them, Mr. Balagopulan?
They're just the four, the good cause exists because they're in violation of the permit condition. They've exceeded the 200 hours, as we heard. The circumstances leading could not have reasonably been avoided. And I think it's in the petition. Also, there was an emergency declared by the governor. There was the storm and the snow. So it's beyond the control. And they did, as I pointed out, they were very diligent in filing for the emergency ex parte and for the interim and regular variants. So they absolutely, I think over the years, I think Ms. Finwall has learned the process quite well, I believe. And the denial would really be an unreasonable impact, not the petitioner, but to the people who depend on the communication tower. So for all those reasons, I can find good cause.
Okay. Mr. Ali, did you have any comment?
No, good cause is established.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Balagopulan, did you want to make a motion for a good cause? And
In the matter of
is your mic on?
in the matter of County Assignment of Fleet Management, case number 6070-12, I move that we find good cause to proceed to the interim variance without notice to the public.
Okay, all right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, how do you vote, Mr. Ali?
I vote aye.
Ms. Conager-Macklin? Aye. Mr. Balagopulan?
Aye.
And I also vote aye. So we can go to the second part, and that will be to for the 6 findings. And it's basically the same thing, except you're actually going for those 6 findings and pointing them out for us. Okay, so you can go ahead and start with your opening statement.
I believe I've already stated the findings in the good cause. Am I correct with that?
Yes, but we're doing 6 findings now. So if you can address the 6 findings.
I might need a little help with that. I apologize.
I think we have a copy.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we have filed for the variance. Correct, this one here? Okay. I'm sorry, I apologize.
My eyes are terrible, so, yeah. Yes. But so the petitioner will be in violation and then due to the conditions. So you just
Okay,
have to, if you can just present the facts that would support. each of
okay,
those.
okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay, no problem.
So the petitioner of the variance, we are in violation of the rule. Due to the conditions beyond the reasonable control of the petitioner, which I think like pointed out, the power went out due to the storm. It took the power lines down. We would lose power, or we would lose communication to first responders, which would definitely be a detriment to the citizens of San Bernardino County. That the board consideration. So we continue the operations, obtaining within the variance that's given. We also will reduce the emissions to only to an hour a month, which is for testing of the units of the generator. Once we can actually get up there, the site is attainable, we can get there. And we will monitor, we have a GPS on the unit so we can closely monitor any of the run times that it will have. And we will report these emissions by the 5th. I believe it's the 5th of every month through an ICE log, send them in.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Reichert?
Subject to compliance with the proposed conditions, the district is not opposed to the granting of the variance.
Okay, all right. moving right along here. We're looking at the merits of this case, and it's obvious. I mean, we're going to be getting these, I think, the more if you ask me, the more the climate change is affecting the forest area, all of that area, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of these where the conditions are so bad that you can't even get to them to correct the problems. And well, the utilities are doing the best that they can. They're in the same condition, same situation. They can't get to the customers to be able to correct and help them come back online. So, and even their stations are not able to be operating. So I do see that there is absolute merit to this, and that I can make the 6 findings for this case as well. And thank you very much for bringing it to our attention and coming before us to try and come back into compliance. So any other comments from board members as we're deliberating the merits of this? Okay.
No, I do agree. We can make the 6 findings to grant the interim variance.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Ali, did you have any comments?
The 6 findings were indeed made to grant the variance. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right, with that, I want to go ahead and then make the motion in the case of County of San Bernardino Fleet Management, case number 6070-12, located at Bertha Peak in Big Bear, zip code 92315. I believe that we can make the 6 findings. I move that we do make the 6 findings and grant the interim variance for this case. And this would be also in reference to, they have 203B and permit condition number 5. The equipment that will run contrary to the permit conditions, as well as the engine which will run over the 200 emergency hour limit. And this is in reference to ICE engine and inside of the generator, which is application permit number F as in Frank 96434. And this will be in reference starting now and through the end of the year. And this would also include the interim variance conditions, which are listed as Exhibit A as an apple.
Madam
yes.
Chair, I think it's an interim, so it's starting from the date the
Yes.
emergency expired till 90 days until the regular notice hearing is
Yes,
held.
my mistake there. Okay, so let's go ahead and correct that. And let's see, if I've got your address, the location, and the emissions. There's also a request for a fee waiver. Yes,
So if we could take that up on a separate motion, once we're.
yes, we can do that. Well, that suffice, Madam Clerk? We can take that separately.
Yeah.
It is a part of the conditions, but we need to vote on the main motion first
Right.
and then consider
Yeah.
the fee waiver. So it's just formality, but we need to do it separately.
Okay, so with that, that completes my motion with the
Second.
corrections.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All right, with that, Mr. Ali, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Conager Macklin? Mr. Balagopalan?
Yes.
And I also vote aye, so it's unanimous that we do grant that interim variance. And so now we can go to the fees. Go right ahead.
I move that pursuant to Rule 303P, that all fees for the ex parte or emergency variance are waived based upon the board's prior approval of the conditions and the variance, granting the variance.
Second. Ali seconds.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? If not, how do you vote, Mr. Balagopalan?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say they attached the emergency declaration by the governor, so that supports your motion.
Yes.
303P.
Okay, how do you
Yes, I vote yes.
Ms. Catamaran?
Yes.
Mr. Ali, did I already
Aye.
ask how you voted? Okay, and I
Aye.
also, so that is unanimous. We do grant that as well. All right, so if there's, unless there's anything else in regards to this case, I don't think so. Thank you very much for appearing today.
Thank you.
And you are a good substitute, so thank you very
Thank you.
much. All right, with that, the matter is closed, and unless there's anything else on the agenda, the only other thing I wanted to mention, that if there was any member of the public who wanted to make a comment not related to this case, I don't think we have anybody raising their hand, do we, Madam Clerk? Okay, so with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for appearing. All righty then. We are off the record.
We got it right in the end.